Hello, and this is my review of the BYD Seal. So this is the BYD Seal, and it's the company's answer to the Tesla Model 3, which is a very, very successful car. Now this one is sitting in a weird place dimensionally, so it's slightly longer than the Tesla Model 3, and it's actually a little bit longer than the BMW i4, and it's ever so slightly shorter than the estate version of the Audi A5. So it's technically a small saloon car, but it is relatively large in terms of its competition as well. Now, one of the things you first notice about the BYD Seal is that this is a very, very good looking car. The designers have done a really good job in terms of the packaging, the whole shape of the vehicle, and it all adds up to a very attractive looking car. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We've got these headlights here which have a lovely sort of teardrop shape and extend round in a C shape. Down here, this whole pattern, it looks like a shell, but that is actually the daytime running lights, and again, it looks really, really good, especially sort of when you get into the afternoon, it's a sort of a lower light. It looks really, really good on the road. Down here, we've got a lot of this plastic grille section with a lot of creases and different shapes. Again, it looks really, really good. We've got the BYD badge here, which is quite large, and a front-facing camera as well. I do think the front end is probably the best looking section of this car, and it does look really, really good. Thankfully, we also do have a frunk under here, which we'll have a look at now. So much like the BYD Sea Line 7, the bonnet on the BYD Seal is thankfully latchless, which makes opening and closing the bonnet a bit easier. There's no latch to click and get your hand stuck. It's pretty, really good. And then we have got a gas strut setup, which is a really nice premium feature actually. And then underneath the bonnet, there's a lot of plastic cladding, but we do thankfully have a frunk in here. So even though this is the four-wheel drive version, there is a really usable amount of space. It's 53 litres, and usually this is where the removable roof is stored. So there is a fabric cover which you can slot into place in the roof, and that all folds up in a butterfly shape, and you can put it away in the boot section there. We will have a look at that blind section in the rear section of the video. Apart from the frunk, this is where you top up your screen wash and the brake fluid, and that's pretty much it. It's all plastically covered, and all the core components are hidden away under there. The bonnet itself is relatively heavy. It does all have a nice sort of concertina pattern mechanism over there, and that folds down pretty easily, much like the Tesla Model 3. Just lean on the bonnet and it closes pretty easily. Now, before we go any further, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the Interface Cars YouTube channel. There's lots and lots of car content coming on a regular basis, such as new car reviews, infotainment walkthroughs, and EV charging guides. Thank you. Now, I think the side design is just as attractive as the front, really. In terms of the proportions, BYD have done a really, really good job. The rear section there has got a relatively short overhang, which looks really, really nice. Not too large, not too elongated. It looks really, really good. At the front, again, short bonnet here, so it's not too large, not too in your face, and I think it works quite well as a whole design piece. It looks really, really good. We have got some references to aquaticness, as I call it, because the BYD Seal is part of BYD's Ocean series of vehicles. We have got a water-based inspired design language. We have got this little black piece here with some texturing that could be aquatic, I'm not too sure. And then down here, this is probably the most aquatic thing. We've got a gill section, so some interlaced triangles together, and that looks quite nice really. It looks a bit more interesting than just black plastic on the side skirt. And then up here, again, some little gills potentially as well. I think that works really, really well. Now, one of the things you'll notice about the Seal is the door handles. So these do fold and recess, much like the Tesla Model S from quite a few years ago now. Now, unlike the Model S, these don't open outwards like that. They actually tilt properly like a normal door handle. So that's really, really good. It makes getting in and out of the car a little bit easier. And one of the things that surprised me is the thwump you get from when you close the door. It's a really, really premium sounding, German sounding thunk when you close the door. So that sounds really, really good to me, like a really premium sounding door handle, or door close, sorry. Yeah, that's really, really good. I like that. You'll also notice on the door mirror here for the driver's side, there's an NFC logo. And that means with certain phones and BYD's app, you can actually unlock the door or unlock the car with your phone without the need for a key. I can't demonstrate that in this video because I haven't set it up. I can't set it up because I don't own the car, but there are some videos online showing you how that works. And it looks a relatively good system, so that's pretty good. Now in terms of colours, the Seal comes in some nice options really. I quite like the green colour. If you look at the picture online, it looks awfully dark, but in reality it's quite a nice light, almost sort of a light mint colour. It's quite nice. So 6 different colours: ice blue, polar white, space black, Atlantis grey, but then also shadow green, which is that one I mentioned, and indigo grey. Some of those colours, which I will put on screen, are subject to an extra charge of £1,100 on top of the list price of the Seal. But 1 or 2 of them, I think including this one, are free of charge. Let me know what you think about the colours in the comments down below. Now for the alloys, or the alloy wheel in this instance, there's only one design to choose from regardless of what trim you pick on the Seal. So that's either design trim or the excellence trim. You get the same alloy wheel. This one's 19 inches in size. It's got some plastic pieces there, and there is a sort of a diamond cut pattern to it as well. Got the little BYD logo in the middle. It's a really nice looking alloy wheel design, matches the whole car really, really well. This particular car, which is from the BYD press office, is sitting on Continental tyres, and these are 235/45 R19. So that's some useful information for you out there if you own the BYD Seal. Again, really, really good cohesive design. Some really, really nice little touches everywhere else. So I think the side design is really good actually. One of the main benefits of buying a BYD is for their battery technology, and the Seal is no different. This is sitting on their platform 3, so it's their 3rd generation platform for their whole integrated system, and the battery is LFP, it's cobalt free, and it's around 82 kilowatt hours, and it's a really, really good performing pack. One of the main things that BYD highlights in their marketing material is the fact that you can crash into the car and the battery won't have any problems. You can drive a nail through the battery and again it won't have any problems, the car will still work. So it's a really main highlight of their batteries is the fact they're really, really resilient to damage and puncturing and all that sort of stuff, and it just won't be an issue. Now, for the BYD Seal, we have up to 354 miles of range. That's for the rear-wheel drive design trim. This one I've got here today is the all-wheel drive Excellence. So it's a little bit heavier, so that drops the range down to 323 miles. And it's a really, really efficient car. So you'll actually get around 310 miles in the real world out of this vehicle, maybe a little bit more as well. And DC charging is 150 kilowatt. That's really, really good. So it's 30 to 80% in around half an hour. And 11 kilowatt for AC. That's 3-phase charging at hotels and at home. Now the charging port is on the rear right-hand side of the vehicle. We've got a dual CCS2 connector. And one thing I've noticed is that even if you finish charging, the car will keep the port locked until you unlock the car. And if you're using let's say a granny charger or a 3-pin socket charger, that'll mean they'll be able to steal your charger. I'm not sure how much of an issue that is, but that's one thing I've noticed. That's really, really good. We have got rubber bungs for the charging ports. There's no little trap doors, but that is pretty good, and that is nicely hidden away there. Just like the front, the rear design is just as attractive in my opinion. It's a really, really nice, understated design, very simple in its approach, and there's lots of nice little design elements around the whole back. It works really, really well. Now, I've always thought there's something missing about the back here. On BYD's first models, the Atto 3 and the Dolphin, they both had Build Your Dreams on the back, and subsequently with the Atto 3, after some feedback, BYD did remove the lettering on there because it does look a little bit cheesy. With the Sea Lion 7, when the company launched that earlier this year, it just has BYD written on the back, so I think that looks a little bit better. In my opinion, this works really well, but it is also at the same time missing something, and I think that is the BYD badge somewhere. Now it does say BYD Seal down here, and then it says 3.8S. That's referring to the 0 to 62 time on this particular one, which is really, really quick. Elsewhere, we have got the reversing camera down here, so that's nice and well hidden. And we've also got the button to open the boot. Got the diffuser down here with some nice aggressive fins and some air intakes down there. I think those are fake. Yes, they are, I think. And the rest of it works really well. We've got some parking sensors and various bits and pieces. We've got the light bar here, which is nice and wide, and in either side with the rear lights, the indicators, there are some little diamond patterns, and they look quite fancy as well. Like most saloon cars, the rear window here is one, heavily tinted, but also it doesn't have a rear wiper. In my testing this week, the weather's been all over the place. It hasn't really caused a problem, so I don't think that's a massive issue. And again, that's a very common thing with saloon cars. Now again, to open the boot, just press this little button here, and one thing you'll notice is there's no annoying beeping sound when you open or close the boot. I find that quite a grating experience. I'm not entirely sure if it's a safety thing, but that is quite nice. That doesn't have a beeping sound. Now in here is an impressive amount of space. It's 402 litres of boot space, and it goes back quite far. There's also this false floor section which holds the Type 2 system, so that is a vehicle to load kit. You can power up various things. There's a UK plug in there. Also, just below here, we have got a bit of storage for your time mobility kit and warning triangles and various bits. Pop that back in there, that fits in there quite nicely. And this vehicle does come with a Type 2 to Type 2 connector as well. And there's a subwoofer this side and a bit of storage behind this bit of net there. Now we can fold these rear seats down and that gives you even more space. So let's quickly do that now. So just in there, that goes back quite far. It is relatively the same as the Tesla Model 3 and also the Hyundai Ioniq 6. It has got a bit more of a larger opening than the Hyundai version, but that is pretty usable and again, pretty standard when you compare it to other saloon cars in the market. Pressing this button here closes the boot and that again folds down very silently. Now for the front, the interior quality is beyond exceptional. It's really, really good for the market this car sits in. And I'm really surprised at the attention to detail the company's gone to, but also again, the material quality. Now on the dash here, we have got this lovely leather material with some contrasting blue and dark grey stitching. And it sort of curves up here and has some nice effects. All on the dash here as well, we have got this microfiber sort of Alcantara material, which is really, really good quality. Also, there's a bit of plastic down the bottom there, but that's to be expected. The whole central section here has this sort of hourglass shape, so it sort of comes in here and curves inwards. And we have got the two cup holders there. Got the leather armrest with an NFC logo on the top, and that feels really, really good quality and really well weighted, and it's all felt lined in there. The seats are exceptional, really good quality, really comfortable, really hold you in a good position in the vehicle. And on a long journey, which I've done quite a few times this week, it's really, really soft and supportive. You don't get out of the car feeling tired or fatigued. That Alcantara material is also on the dash here, all on the door section. Got some nice soft leather. And the sponginess of the leather is really nice. It's all on the seats as well. It's all in the back as well, which we'll get to a bit later. But one thing I've noticed about this car is the level of quality is really, really good. Lots of physical buttons as well in the Seal. One thing that I think BYD are focusing on is making sure, yes, one, we've got a nice fancy touchscreen, but also we've got quite enough physical buttons, which is good. So down here in the middle, we've got this round section. This is very similar to the Sea Line 7, by the way. Got the little gear selector here, so press the brake just to adjust that as you want. We've got all these tactile buttons for the air conditioning, got a volume rocker as well, it's like an actual wheel for the volume. Got your hazard switch there, park button, start, stop, driving modes. We've got Eco, Normal, Sport. There's a snow mode, got the parking sensors, and then auto hold as well. Got two decent sized wireless phone charging pads, and they're all nice and easy to use there. Now underneath here we have got a USB-C port, USB-A port, and then a 12-volt socket, and also a micro SD card slot. That seems to be a very similar thing, or very typical thing that BYD are doing in their interiors, of putting a SD card in there for additional storage if you want that. Now, the only problem I've got with the whole car, really, there is only one problem with it in my opinion, and it's the cup holders. So I'm sure, like most people, I drink coffee while driving, and these cups tend to not support quite large cups. So from McDonald's cups, for example, in the UK, these don't fit side by side. Now they do fit the individual cups, but if you have two people with you, they just don't fit side by side. Like the Sea Line 7, this middle one does move downwards. So if you've got a relatively large bottle, this will hold that no problem, and you press that button to raise it up again. But just not being able to hold certain size cups is a bit of a problem, unfortunately. Now we have got a 15.65-inch infotainment screen, which, like all BYD models, it can rotate. So that button there, that rotates into portrait mode if we want to, and the whole UI will take effect for that. So some people want a portrait screen, some people want a landscape screen, and you have got the option of both. So every single model that BYD makes, even the little cheap, inexpensive BYD Seagull, does have this rotating screen. Now this is running nearly the latest version of BYD software, and it has a lot of features. The map software is so smooth and easy to use, and it's really, really responsive. We've got built-in Spotify here, we've got built-in radio, there's BYD Assistant. You can say, "Hi BYD."
Hello.
Open the driver's window. There we go, so we can do that. Then, "Hi BYD, close the driver's window." "Hi BYD, close the driver's window." There we go. Nice and easy to use. We do also have wireless Apple CarPlay. We've got Android Auto on here. Got, as I said, built-in Spotify. There's themes. There's a load of information on here. And there's a BYD store as well. So if you click on the BYD store, I think you can download certain apps for the vehicle, like YouTube potentially. Let's have a quick look here. There's actually no internet connection on there at all. Oh well. But yeah, there's a lot of features on here. If you want a full in-depth guide on this infotainment screen, check out my link in the top right-hand corner or the description down below, where I take a full in-depth look at all the settings, the features, and all the shortcuts and things on this software, because it is pretty impressive. We have also got a 10.25-inch screen for the driver, and one thing I noticed with the Seal 7 a few months ago is that this screen was incredibly low res, and it seems like the Seal is a lot better. So this one's got a really, really high-res screen. The interface itself does look a little bit cheap. I think it's the colour scheme that's putting me off. But everything on there, like the icons and the text and everything else, is actually really, really high res. Same goes for this screen as well. So that's quite good. Now, one of my favourite things about this car is the steering wheel. So I like a good steering wheel. It's one of the things you interface with on the car all the time. So this steering wheel is really, really nice to hold, really nice and grippy. It's quite a lightweight steering wheel. The only problem is actually that this middle section is reflective. So it's almost like a mirror function. You can see yourself in there, which is good or bad depending on who you are. Got some nice solid stalks here for the wipers and the lights. They're really nice and solid to use. Got the cruise control features, and there's a lot of features in this screen itself. For example, you can control the heating from this screen. So you click this button here, you can cycle through a lap timer or a drag race timer. There's a health check of the vehicle. You can adjust the fan speed, adjust the temperature. You can adjust the look and feel of this screen here. A lot of features, a lot of really, really nice features as well. Down here, there's no buttons at all, but we have got a little pocket here for something. And then there is all the usual controls for the windows and opening the boot and that sort of good stuff. We've also got that nice big sunroof, which we'll look at in a bit. There's some controls up here for SOS and lighting controls, and then the sun visors themselves, little LED lights, and your little visor to hide that mirror away. I love the interior in this. It really does feel like a quality place to be. I don't think BYD have skimped on any of the material quality. It feels like it's high quality and it feels worth the money you pay. Again, the only problem for me is the cup holders, but everything else in here is top notch. So really, really impressive. Now for the back seats, we've got a really, really decent amount of space. One thing I've noticed back here, one of the first impressions, is the build quality and the materials that BYD have gone for. So they might not look like it, but the seats are incredibly good quality and really, really soft and supportive. This smooth material here is really squidgy and really, really soft. And so is this armrest here as well. It's a really, really good choice of materials. And that quality extends to the door cards. Now, this is usually an area which car manufacturers scrimp on, and they tend to put lesser quality items in the back than they do get in the front. Not so much, that hasn't happened in the BYD. So we've got Alcantara microfiber on the door cards here, leather on the top there, a little bit of plastic down here, which is to be expected. But this whole section's a leather material. So is this section here. It's all really soft and supportive and really, really nice and premium. I really think they've done a good job in the back of the Seal. It's really, really good. And even this plastic section, it's good quality. It's not scratchy, it's nice and smooth, and it feels really, really good. Now, in other vehicles with these sort of all-in-one type bucket seats that the Seal has, they tend to induce a little bit of motion sickness because they restrict the view out. The Seal is quite a wide car, so we've got a nice wide central tunnel section. But also we've got a lot of glass. We've got these nice big windows here. We've got a massive sunroof, which extends pretty much the whole length of the vehicle, bar this bit in the back. But it provides a lot of openness to the back seats. It's really, really good, and that should hopefully reduce that level of motion sickness. Now in the sunroof, there isn't a blind, but BYD have given you a blind in the boot. So in the front, there's a bag with a concertina style blind, which involved a lot of swearing and a lot of things breaking to get it installed. So I will put a little clip of what that's like to install now. It is a little bit of a faff. So the BYD Seal has a panoramic roof, and you get these blind sections that come with the car. These do all concertina up and fold away, so you can fold them up like a butterfly sort of shape, and those live in the front. But they can be, as I said, a bit of a faff to get in the actual roof. The clips here have a habit of falling off, and you probably only want to do it once in the height of summer, and that's probably it. Depends on if you want to use it or not. So one thing I would do before installing it is just checking that all the clips are secure. And what you want to do is the flat section of these clips, you want to have them facing the roof, and then they all clip into place. Let's see if we can do this on camera for the first time. So I have tried this a few times and got kind of the hang of it off camera earlier. So you want to sit in the car and pop that up there. So the clips themselves want to go in the roof, and you want to hold the clips and push them into the roof there, and make sure they don't move around because they will fall off. They will definitely fall off. So there we go. And that one's in place. And then you want to hold. Take two. So that sits in the roof. That bit goes there. Hold that in place. There we go. So that's the front one in. And the rear one is curved at the back and flat to meet the middle. There are some clips that sit in the middle as well. Push that forward a bit. There we go. So it sort of sits in between the roof section, and there are some clips in the back, and that's it. There are some, as I said, some little clips that sit in the middle. Just block a lot of the light, but that middle bit does sag a little bit. So again, there are some little clips which I haven't quite worked out how to put in, but I'm sure it should be fine. Elsewhere, the entire floor is completely flat because the Seal is a bespoke EV. In the middle, we have a section for a phone and 2 air vents. And behind a trap door is 1 USB-C port and 1 USB-A port. In the middle section down here, we have got the armrest. So again, much like the seats, this bit is really, really good quality. Really, really soft materials, really, really squidgy. And we've got 2 decent sized cup holders with some little grippy things to hold cups in place. Again, unfortunately, much like the front, these cup holders are a little bit too close together for my liking. So certain cups just can't fit in here at all. They're just too close together. But should be fine for most cups, but I would like to see BYD fix that cup holder issue in the next version of the Seal, because other than that, that's pretty much the only problem with this vehicle. It's really, really good otherwise. There we go. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the BYD Seal is a mid-size saloon car, very similar in dimensions to the Tesla Model 3. And that means we've got a very nice ride. It seems to be one of the things that this sort of size vehicle focuses on is generally the ride quality. Now, there are 2 different versions to the BYD Seal. They've got the design trim and then the excellence trim, and this one is the latter of the 2. We've got a all-wheel drive system with about 500 brake horsepower, and that means the acceleration is absolutely rapid. But also, one of the things you do get on this excellence trim is a unique suspension setup. Now, this one has semi-active adaptive suspension, which means it will actually stiffen up when it detects a pothole or loosen up when it detects a more smooth road. And that means the ride quality is really, really good. You could do really long journeys in this over quite some bad roads, and it does feel very, very comfortable and very, very comforting on the road. The design trim itself is fine, but this one is obviously a little bit better in terms of the ride quality. Now, as I said, this one is all-wheel drive. The standard design trim is rear-wheel drive only, and we do get that extra motor with a massive increase in power. So the standard design trim has about 318 brake horsepower and 0 to 60 in around 5.9 seconds. And this excellence trim takes it to another level. We've got 522 brake horsepower and 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Now, when you look at the outside of the car, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do that kind of thing. But this car is, yeah, it is very, very rapid when you need it to be. Now, there are 2 or 3 different driver modes. We have got Eco, Normal, and then Sport as well. Also, what BYD have added in addition to those driver modes is actually a 0 to 62 timer. Even the BYD Dolphin has this sort of mode, and it means that you haven't got the need for a separate timing equipment when you're doing this sort of testing. If I come to a complete stop here, I click on the timer mode. So come to a complete stop, click on timer, and then 3, 2, 1. The car actually hit 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. So a little bit behind the claimed 3.8 second sort of figure that BYD quotes. But I think on that bit of road I was going slightly uphill actually. So it says best record 4 seconds. It even gives you the 0 to 31 mile an hour time as well. So that was 1.7 seconds. So it's actually, yeah, it's pretty quick. And actually, once you're in that sport mode, the steering does stiffen up slightly. When you're in the normal and eco mode, it does feel a little bit loose and a little bit numb, but you can feel some of the road through the steering wheel, but it just adds that slight bit of stiffness to the wheel, which is quite nice to see, really. Gives a bit more feedback, and quite nicely you can choose between the different drive modes with a little wheel here. There's nothing to mess around with in the software. You can do all quite easily. Obviously, we have got a massive amount of power, but this doesn't feel as aggressive as the Tesla Model 3 Performance, for example. This feels a bit more sedate, but it can completely outrun anything in its class if you want it to. But it isn't shouting about the fact that it's got loads of power. It's a bit more understated than, again, the Model 3, for example. Now, one of the things the Seal is lacking is strong regen, I think. There are two different modes in the infotainment screen. You've got normal and high, and when you have got it in high mode, it isn't really as strong as a lot of its competitors. It would be nice to see sort of a really strong regen mode, one pedal driving, like you get on the Genesis and Hyundai vehicles. That's one thing that's missing on this vehicle that unfortunately BYD haven't added. It is adding 50 kilowatts to the battery now, so I'm coming down to a slow speed, and I've got 30 kilowatt going back on the batteries and 50 kilowatts. So it is a very similar system on terms of the interface to something like the GWM Aura 03, which tells you how many kilowatts you're putting back in the batteries at any given time. Last thing I want to touch on is the efficiency. So, like other BYD models, the Seal does display the efficiency in a rather bizarre manner. Rather than having miles per kilowatt hour, it displays it in kilowatt hours per 100 miles on this screen. And then if you dive into the infotainment screen, it's actually going to display it in kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So the figure you might see in there for the total life of the car looks a little bit better on first glance than what you see on this screen. But that is because it's showing it in 100 kilometers. So at the moment, for the whole lifetime of the car, it's showing 32.3 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. So I will put the exact conversion to miles per kilowatt hour on screen now. But what you can also do is dive into the menu here, and you can get the efficiency per the last 50 miles, and that's showing 37.3 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. And I have seen it as low as 26 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. So again, I will put all those details on screen, but from memory, I think the highest I saw was about 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. But yeah, not bad efficiency for a four-wheel drive, quite heavy saloon car with that massive 82 kilowatt hour battery pack. So I think that's pretty impressive, really. But overall, I'm actually really impressed with how this BYD Seal drives. The interior is really good quality. It goes along the road in a really acceptable manner, and it's actually quite efficient. I'm getting over 300 miles per charge, so I'm actually really impressed. So that's been a look at the BYD Seal Excellence for 2025. Overall, I'm really impressed with this vehicle. It's got really good efficiency, really good range, pretty decent charging speeds as well, but also the styling is just outstanding. Again, there's only one problem I can find with this car, which for a modern car is actually pretty impressive, and it's just those cup holders inside. If BYD can solve that issue, I think this would be a perfect car. But I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Please consider subscribing to the Interface Cars. My name's Alex, and I'll see you again next time.